Mr. Dougan, Credit Suisse reported for the second quarter a net loss of 700 million Swiss francs. That's more or less in line with analyst expectations. On the operational side, which were the most important drivers for this result?
Well, we had actually a pretty strong quarter from the point of view of our strategic businesses. I mean, obviously the overall result was impacted by the settlement, but with 1.8 billion of pre-tax in our strategic businesses, it was actually quite a strong result. There was a good result on the investment banking side, but also a very solid result in private banking. And we saw good customer flows during the quarter, as well as we made good progress on capital and costs.
Some of your US competitors reported better trading environment in June and at the beginning of the third quarter. Do you see a similar trend?
Well, as you can see from our fixed income results, actually, we had a very strong relative fixed income result in the quarter versus the year ago quarter, basically with flat revenues, which is actually quite good. June certainly was a stronger month than what we had seen earlier in the quarter, and I'd say, July so far, the conditions seem to be pretty consistent with what we saw in the first half.
Right after the guilty plea in the USA, you said that you don't see any material impact on the customer side. How is the situation now? Do you see customer losses or any other negative impacts on your business?
Well, obviously there was an impact on the business from the process of getting that issue behind us. I think we obviously very much appreciate our customer support and also all the hard work done by our employees. And you can see from the numbers in the first quarter, we had a pretty strong quarter from a client point of view. In fact, our net new asset number of close to 12 billion is one of our strongest second quarter results in a number of years.
You also announced today the exit of the commodities trading. What are the reasons for these steps?
Well, this is part of our overall restructuring of our macro business in fixed income. It's really responding to both regulatory changes as well as market structure changes. And our view is that we can reallocate those resources, both cost and capital, to other businesses where we can be more effective and produce better returns for our shareholders.
A very important question for Credit Suisse shareholders is the dividend. In light of the US fine, can they expect more than 70 cents they got for last year?
Well, as you can see, we ended up the second quarter at a 9.5% capital CET1 ratio, which actually shows that we're very much on track for exceeding 10% at the end of the year, which was what we laid out as our target. That includes actually a continued accrual for a cash dividend. We haven't talked about the exact level of the dividend, but we do continue to accrue for the cash dividend, and we do expect over time to continue to return substantial cash to our clients. And as we said at the time of the announcement of the settlement, once we get to 10%, we'll actually be dedicating half of our earnings to returns to shareholders.
But will it be more or less than 70 cents?
Well, we haven't actually talked about the exact level of the dividend for this year, and it obviously still depends on results for the rest of the year, et cetera. But we do continue to accrue for a cash dividend for our shareholders.
In the US, the dark pool of Barclays PLC is under the spotlight. With the platform Crossfinder, Credit Suisse runs the most important dark pool in terms of volumes. Are there investigations in connection with your platform?
Well, obviously to start off with the whole question of electronic trading, these have been developments that have been very helpful to the market generally over the past few years. And so actually for institutional investors, but also retail investors, they can execute quite easily in the markets, partly as a result of a number of these developments. We have been actually working very hard on approaching this business, developing it, and trying to take a responsible approach to making sure that we try to design the system in a way that allows us to eliminate a lot of the potential abuses. We are obviously involved in a lot of dialogue with regulators around these issues. We don't see any material issues right now, but we'll obviously continue to correspond with the regulators on their inquiries.